Good evening. My name is Michael Walton, and I'm a member of the Nourishing Power Fellowship, and I am excited to be able to welcome you here tonight. Hey. So, I don't have a clicker, so is somebody. There is a clicker up there. Somebody told me somebody else is going to do this, but this is even better. Don't say that. 10 whole minutes, because on the thing it said 6, but I can make it work, because we got to get to Mr. Rogers in that same time. Mr. Rogers. So, I am a member of the Nourishing Power Advisory Council. I've been an urban farmer since 2008, and I am an advocate for everything that Nourishing Power does. And I was supposed to explain why I'm proud to be a Nourishing Power Advisory Council member, but there's a slide that does that better, so I'm going to skip through. Our vision: to root and grow a local food system that promotes freedom, hope, and dignity in food traditions, resulting in holistic health for Black, Latino, Latina, Latinx, Asian, and indigenous communities. And when we talk about what the food system is, it's all these things that are listed here. Not working. It's like I'm playing tag with a laser. But growing food, distributing food, selling, sharing, preparing, eating. And the reason why I'm really excited to be a part of Nourishing Power is because we are a community action research project. And I just want to stop with those words first, because I am excited to be a part of something that blends research and action, because so often research doesn't result in anything for the people that are directly involved, or it's years away after the research has been read and validated and all the rest of that. But we're actually focusing on implementation as we are doing the research. So we are a community action research project testing ways to bridge community power with organizational power to spark and expand food justice initiatives led by the community. And the reason that we're here today is because our fellows are graduating, and we've got numerous projects that we want you to continue to connect to throughout the evening so you can find out what they're doing. And Mr. Margolius, we haven't met, but part of the reason that I got involved in urban agriculture is to reduce and eliminate race and place-based health inequities. And so I know that you're engaged in that also. So nice to put eyes on you. And the Nourishing Power really is a network with many pieces, and you can be involved in whatever way really works for you. You can join the advisory council, as I did. You can apply to the Nutrition Equity Fund, which is literally funding food change issues. Become a Nourishing Power Fellow, as you'll meet tonight. And you can engage in the Nourishing Power Network. We have networking events where you don't have to make a big investment. Just come, meet us, connect, and figure out how you want to be involved in the future. And we have some team agreements, and these are usually for interactions where we're networking more, but there will be time afterwards when you can connect, network, again, do a gallery walk of the fellows. So take space, make space. All voices are important. So as you're interacting with people, give and share, have a dialogue, be fully present. Limit electronics and side conversations, and I'm going to encourage you, if you've got a important call you have to make, step outside into the beautiful, wonderful, sunny May day. Intent does not equal impact. Assume good intentions, be mindful of your potential impact. So as you're dialoguing with people, if they say something that sort of rubs you a little the wrong way, first step back and say, what did they intend? And how am I hearing it? Take the lessons, leave the names. If someone shares something sensitive or confidential, Avoid using their name or organization when sharing lessons with people outside of this event. So you can talk about what you learned, what you heard, what you might do based on it, but don't mention their names. And then finally, have fun. Meet someone new. Try something different. This is a great place to do both of those. The food was wonderful, and that was just the opening. So take it away, Mr. Rogers.
Almost lost it there. Next person, be careful. Good evening, everyone. My name is Julian Rogers, and I am honored to be invited here tonight to give brief words of welcome on behalf of Case Western Reserve University. It's a pleasure to be here in the historic Dunham Tavern, the oldest building still standing in its original site in the city of Cleveland. We're extremely excited about the new developments and investments and opportunities that are coming up around us in Midtown, but it's critically important that we remember our past, and places like Dunham Tavern help us do that. So let me start by saying how incredibly impressive is the work of the Nourishing Power Network, whose mission, as stated before, is to test ways to transform food systems by bridging community power with organizational power to spark and expand food justice initiatives led by community. Bringing community power together with organizational power, that truly is a winning combination that is reflective of the type of partnerships we seek to encourage at Case Western Reserve University. I've read the bios of the fellows. What an extremely extraordinary group of accomplished individuals. Each of you has gifts, talents, and advanced knowledge on a vast variety of topics, including how to promote health and wellness through equitable food systems. From what I read, each of you are leaders and experts in your own right. But it's through this network, the Nourishing Power Network, that combines what you know with the resources of the Mary Ann Swetland Center for Environmental Health, our partners at the FAIR Project, neighborhood connections that allow us to experiment with what works and take those ideas to scale. By learning and growing together, sharing ideas and experiences, and appreciating and valuing what everyone brings to the table, we produce better outcomes for our community. This approach to partnering with the community is consistent with our strategic plan, Think Big, and is one of the top priorities of our president, Eric Kaler. He's pushing us to identify more opportunities where we can work in partnership with the community and community-based organizations to collectively recognize problems and create solutions. These relationships are mutually beneficial. In addition to the Nourishing Power Fellowship, the university has recently launched a few other noteworthy initiatives designed to enhance our engagement with the community. I'll highlight very briefly just three. So we also have recently created a neighborhood advisory council at Case Western Reserve. It's a council of 20 members, 12 of which are community residents. They advise our university leadership on all things that have to do with our connections to the community. We've recently consolidated several of our K-12 programs under one umbrella. They were previously in different places throughout the university. So now we've been able to bring them all together and basically take advantage of each other as a resource. And we did this to provide better services to the schools, the parents, and to provide more opportunities for participating students. And then lastly, we're in the process of redeveloping an old historic house that we have on Wade Park, and we're turning it into a community engagement center. So we're very excited about that work. But these are just a few examples of how we're looking to be better neighbors and support the community. But tonight is about the fellows. And to you, I'd like to say congratulations and a job well done. I look forward to hearing about more of your work and what you plan on doing in the future. And again, thank you for the opportunity to speak with you this evening. Thank you.
I bet I should press this, huh? Let's see. Oh, yeah. Great. Well, thank you so much for having me tonight. I'm honored to be among you. You are all celebrities to me, so I'm just grateful to be here. So my name is Dave Margulies. I'm the Director of Public Health for the City of Cleveland. Thank you, Mr. Walton, for the introduction earlier. And some of you have heard this story about how I got into this work right here, but I'm gonna tell it again. You were there. Some of you were there. So I started August 1st as the Director of Public Health. And I think maybe September, I get a phone call, and it's from the mayor. And I'm not exactly sure the origins. He had a meeting with the Cleveland Clinic, and there was this kind of national Mayor's Alliance movement to work on childhood hunger. But he called me and said, I just told someone that you are now my chief advisor on ending childhood hunger. I said, all right, Mayor, I'm on it. And a few weeks later, I had a meeting with some of you in this room. I know Morgan was there. I know Trey Williams was there. Where's Trey? Trey was there, Jennifer Lumpkin, Angela Sales, a few other folks who were in this room. And I said, all right, guys, can you help me end childhood hunger? What's the best, most organic way to do that? And they said, this is true. They said, Dr. Dave, that is not the issue in the city of Cleveland. The kids are hungry, but if we're just trying to solve hunger, that's what the food banks do. What we need you to do, and what we need you to get the mayor to do, is to champion food justice and ending food apartheid. So I called him up right after the meeting. Yes, that is you. That is what you said to me. So I called him up after the meeting and I said, Mayor, we got this all wrong. We got to end food apartheid, food justice, food sovereignty. That's what we got to do. Don't say food desert. And he said, okay. He said, okay, I love that. Go with that. That's what we're going to do. And so when it came time to write out our 2023 priorities for the administration, and we have this internal document, I put ending food apartheid, and the mayor approved it as one of our priorities for the administration. So every month it's this internal spreadsheet, and we go through, and people have on there, and I have other priorities on there too, just a few others, but hire a land bank managers under community development, that's a priority. Get the X project done, Y project done, and I get to mine, and it's ending food apartheid, and I have to put a little update to write if we've ended it or not. So we haven't ended it yet, but it's still on there every month, reminding me that we haven't ended it yet, reminding the mayor, and this is important work to us. So as a result, and this is just one small thing, well, I'm going to name two small things. One small thing is we are hiring a local food system strategies coordinator for the city of Cleveland under public health. That individual, thank you. Someone from this group sent me that job description, so thank you. And so that individual is going to be the liaison between the city of Cleveland, all of the city of Cleveland departments, and you to make your work easier to help put the resource behind the city of Cleveland. So that's the work. Not going to be easy, but that's the work. And we think an incredible person has accepted an offer, and they just got to get through the background check. We'll be able to announce that. So that's one small thing. And then the second small thing is, I know words are just words, and you want actions, but words do matter. And as a result of your work, and then Sarah asking a question at the State of the City, the mayor says ending food apartheid, right? He said it in the State of the City. So that's credit to you, credit to this group. And that's just words, and will be followed by actions, but that's the work. And so I just want to end with gratitude. Much of my work is focused on the negative: lead poisoning, fentanyl, homicides, right? Traffic fatalities, smoking, all of that kind of stuff that are killing Clevelanders. But you are the positive, you are the solution. Food justice is the solution, ending food apartheid is the solution. So congratulations on your graduation today, and thank you so much.
Welcome. You're making me blush. I'm gonna match this shirt. I'm gonna match my shirt. Wow, what an amazing room. What amazing energy. I can't believe it's been 6 months and we are here. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Morgan Taggart. I'm the Director of FAIR, Food Access Raises Everyone, and thank you, Tom O'Brien. We are one of the lead partners for the Nourishing Power Fellowship. So we work hand in hand with the Swetland Center, help develop this fellowship, shape it, facilitate the sessions, design the mentoring program in partnership with our advisory council members, of which Mike Walton is one. And you'll be hearing more from an advisory council member coming up shortly. But it's been an amazing experience. And so before we dig into hearing from our fellows themselves, I know I'm a loud talker, so I hope I'm okay with this mic. If I'm not, let me know. We're going to just share a little bit more about the fellowship. So those of you who may not know what your friends and family members have been doing the last 6 months, you have a sense of the journey that they've been on. So our theme for this cohort was sparking and expanding food justice for children and families. So really, when we kind of revealed the application process, we were looking for community leaders that had ideas that they wanted to turn into action that would address food justice for children and families. So the way that the program is designed, it doesn't really focus on teaching you all about the food system, the ins and outs, how to grow food, how to distribute food, market food. We take folks into our program that have an idea, that have lived experience, have seen things in their community, and have developed solutions that they want to take from the idea phase into the action phase. So we really help people on this journey to grow their vision for food justice. We help them both create a vision board and an action plan with SMART goals and objectives, was one of our sessions, to really help them think through, how do you take this vision that you have to address food apartheid in your community and really make it happen? You're going to hear their pitches tonight. They're only going to have 3 minutes, but we have been working together the last couple months. I know they've been doing a ton of work, maybe practicing with you all on their pitches, so we really help them figure out their narrative and their messaging for their story. We also want to expand their leadership capacity, give them opportunities to really show and shine what they can do. And then lastly, grow that network of supporters. Michael mentioned our networking events. I know that's one of the things that I've tried to do, is how can I introduce you to the people that you need to talk to get your idea into action? So really growing that network of supporters. So we've had 10 fellows in this cohort that we're just completing. We had 31 applicants and accepted 10 of those, so a 32% acceptance rate. We had our training phase, which went from December through April, and then we brought in some mentors. In the March, we had a mentor meet and greet as a part of the program. They got to kind of do almost like a speed dating and meet lots of different folks who had different types of experiences that they were looking for to help them build their skills. And you're going to hear from one of those mentors tonight. And now they have the support of that mentor. As they're transitioning from our training program and our sessions, they're going to continue to have that support over the next few months as they continue to develop their projects. They also get one-on-one support from their mentor, but they also have a staff liaison, myself and Linnea up here in the front row. Each have 5 fellows that we've been working with since the program started. We did 9 workshops, around once every 2 weeks, then a combination of in-person and Zoom. It's hard to imagine that we were doing this as the kind of pandemic was slowing down a little bit, so we had a hybrid class for people. And then we also offered a $1,500 stipend for their time, whether they needed transportation, childcare, other support, they wanted to invest that into their project. We wanted to be sure that they had the support that they needed. And so now, we're going to get started. And before we do, I know, I should go back, the big reveal. I just want to take a moment to talk about these people, these amazing people that I've had the chance to spend 6 months with. I think we talk a lot about what this fellowship and program has done for the fellows, but it's also been amazing for me. I think, and I appreciate your comments, Dr. Margolius. Some of you know, I know Don knows, we go back almost 15 years, one of the fellows and I working together in local food. And I think the thing that we've missed in all of the strategies and all of the policies is really investing in people. And I think Tom O'Brien in the back of the room has really helped me see that, thanks to Neighbor Connections. And who else do I want to call? Five. We were at an urban agriculture town hall last Friday, and Five got up and said, everyone in these organizations, in the civic sector, in the public sector, in philanthropy, we need you to support us. We need you to step out, help us write grant proposals, help us put budgets together, connect us to the people that we need to talk to make our projects go. And I think that is our role. You know, as someone who's been in here 20 years, I think our role is to open those doors, to rattle those cages, to walk alongside those who want to lead in their own communities. And I just have had a tremendous journey with all of you, our mentors, our fellows, our advisory council members, and I can't wait to see what you do next. So kudos to all of you. And so up first, Mr. Don Gaddis, please come to the stage. You got 3 minutes, sir.
My nickname for her is The Truth. This handsome guy over here was born in the city of Cleveland. He was born in poverty, like many other kids, and he came to appreciate a lot of the supplemental programs that the city had to offer. He got a chance to see the Cleveland Orchestra. He went to summer camp, but by far the thing that benefited him most was the summer lunch programs and school lunch programs. He lived in several communities that at the time were considered food deserts or communities divested of even the most basic options for nutritional foods. And some 20 or so years later, while attempting to attain his business degree, he and other students were challenged to create a business on paper that would benefit the community around the school, the central community. He and his team won the challenge by creating a food co-op that would connect the residents to the resources. This would be the first time that he would understand what a food desert was or be acquainted with any of those terms, or it was the first time also that he experienced the power behind a network, networks like Entrepreneurs for Sustainability or Local Food Cleveland. It was also an extraordinary opportunity to give back to the city for all of the things that they gave him when he was a kid and when he was very poor. My name is Don Gaddis. My project is, am I supposed to click this? Oh, I'm sorry. My name is Don Gaddis. My project is North Star CLE. It is a website hub and a resource directory in one. And it is a resource directory for the entire city of Cleveland and not just one community. Most business owners and organizations agree that a network is one of the most beneficial tools to use and forward their purposes. Cleveland's local food system was one of the most robust cycles of industry that housed many types of food-related companies, organizations, programs. North Star desires to make this local food system vibrant once again by creating a space where these segments can connect, where they can talk about policy issues and barriers to entry or collaboration, or just a collective voice for positive change. We'll call this next part the network at work, the resource side. The resource side is where a homeless person can log on and find out where the nearest soup kitchen is, where the nearest pantry is, or a family can find out where the closest grocery or farmer's market is, or even in Beechwood, a senior on a tight budget can find out where the nearest Meals on Wheels is. This could effectively be the greatest answer to the city's need for access. How can you help? Well, first of all, many of you are involved in some way in a business or organization that has to do with the local food industry. We need you in our network. We need the people in the city to know that you exist. There are some of you who have tremendous experience and longevity that we would like to consider for a network advisory position. And there is also the opportunity to fund us, to fund this website until we get it to scale, and also to fund the future app that will make access even more accessible. This project is like a balloon with infinite capacity, and my lungs alone aren't able to blow it up, and it's going to take the collective effort of all of us to blow it up so that it can lift us out of the situation that we're in. In case you didn't know, that handsome guy right there that we had on the screen, that's me. Still handsome. And my sole purpose here is to finally answer the question so that never has to be asked again: where can I find a meal? Thank you.
Is that the right one? Okay. Lucretia Johnson.
So, I just have a couple questions for you guys. Have you ever answered yes to, we were worried whether our food would run out before we got money to buy more, or the food we bought just didn't last and we didn't have money to get more? Or have you or a loved one been diagnosed with prediabetes, diabetes, hypertension, heart disease, and had no idea where to start to improve your health? Well, unfortunately, this experience is very common in Cleveland. 1 in 7 people are food insecure, meaning they don't know where their next meal is going to come from. And over 1/3 of Clevelanders work at least part-time and are still below the poverty level. And out of that, about 5,000 adults are working full-time and below that poverty level as well. So diabetes, hypertension, high blood pressure, they're all prevalent in Cleveland. And in Cuyahoga County alone, our heart disease death rates are even bigger than the national average. So, our high poverty rates increase our food insecurity, then our food insecurity increases our limited access to food, and then it increases chronic diseases. And what does that all mean? It means that Cleveland and Cuyahoga County are in desperate need of a solution, and one that's not hospital-based, because we have to understand, we have some of the best hospitals in the country, yet Cleveland is still struggling greatly. So my name is Lucretia Johnson. I'm a registered dietitian. I'm a 3rd-generation Clevelander. I'm a former recipient of SNAP, as well as a caseworker, a researcher in a previous life. And I know the ins and outs of government assistance, food access, and eating healthy to prevent chronic disease, as well as manage chronic diseases. And my solution is Cleveland Community Nutrition. And Cleveland Community Nutrition will help those who are food insecure, who need access to healthy, quality food, nutrition education, and how to access food assistance in Cleveland. And how we're different from other kind of pantries is we want to be a choice food pharmacy. So you're going to have basically a nutrition prescription. You're going to have access to doing community cooking classes, getting nutrition counseling, getting assistance with resources to help you become your healthiest self. And my hope is in the next 6 to 12 months that I'll be growing a team to establish that food pharmacy to help with people getting access to those great foods, reducing their risk of chronic diseases, and expanding their palates, as well as securing funding. Having a food pharmacy is not something that is free. And one of the biggest things that I've seen as a community outreach dietitian is we have people who are food insecure, but then they're not 200% under the poverty level. Even if you're $1,000, $2,000 over that level, you can't afford to feed your family. You are still food insecure, but you can't access any of the pantries, not just in the city. This is nationwide. This is a federal thing. And we need more food pharmacies and pantries that people can access who are food insecure but not meeting that level. And in order to do that, we need funding. You can't get that without it. We need general funding that is not from the USDA and not from food pantries. We definitely want the things from, Greater Cleveland Food Bank and other places, but we need something that's accessible for those people who are missing out. In 3 years, I hope Cleveland Community Nutrition is that resource where people come for all things nutrition. that they're met with compassion and dignity, because, being food insecure is hard enough, but then have to go to a place that you're not treated with kindness and respect and getting choices of the things that are best for you. That's the biggest thing. When people get to choose, that makes such a difference in their lives. And then coming to cooking classes, the reality is many people don't know how to cook healthy meals for themselves. So we want to teach them that and do it in a fun way where everyone can be hands-on, from the littlest baby to the older adult. So how can you help? Advising on different business models for the food pharmacy. So we're trying to figure out, okay, what are we going to be an LLC? Are we going to be a nonprofit? Can we collaborate with for 501c3 status? Offering space. We need a place for cooking classes, nutrition education, donating ingredients or tools, as well as donating resources like recording events or editing events, and just sharing information about Cleveland community nutrition. Because in order to heal the community, we need the community. We can't do it by ourselves. We want to collaborate with everyone because that's the only way we're really going to solve this issue. And thank you.
Up next, 5, Sankofa, please come to the stage.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is 5. I am the daughter to Adrian Samuels and Stephen Smith. I am the granddaughter of Lewis Calvin Samuels and Mabel Slaughter, also Jane Smith and Henry Smith, all who grew up in the Glenville area. I live in St. Clair Heights with my children, St. Clair Heights, because I am the mother to 8 children. I am the wife to Robert Stevenson. My children, August, Hunter, Mackenzie, Tamia, Ashe, Irie, Prince, Zuzu, and I'm the grandmother to one who is Zoe. My vision, thank you. My vision includes the ABCs, but I'm going to start with the S today, actually, which is sustainability, which you are looking at. My grandparents grew up in the Glenville area. I am at the beginning of the unofficial Opportunity Corridor, as I live in Bracknell, which due to redlining means I live in Cleveland. So I raised my children there. So sustainability is what I look like, what I am the product of, what I'm the daughter of, what I'm the granddaughter of, and what I'm the mother to. So in my sustainability, we teach the ABCs. I'll start with the C. C is chickenomics. So I raise chickens where I live. I don't know if I'm supposed to move this. Okay, no. So I teach chickenomics. I teach that as a curriculum, but I teach it at home with my children because we raise chickens. What it is we go through a 20-day cycle of hatching an egg all the way, starting with the egg and hatching it all the way to birth, right? So in that process, 21 days, you can change a habit. You can change a mindset. You can change a lifestyle. So I learned in all of this time and doing this work is that we always talked about what are the solutions, and nobody was doing the solution, which was actually growing your food, teaching your children at home, birthing your children at home. So through my chickenomics, I teach how to raise chickens. I also teach you about sustainability. I also teach you how to acquire, which is A, land. So a lot of people are struggling with how to acquire land from the land bank, what you have to go through, what laws do you have to know. So I am there to help in those small sessions about chickens to teach you how to acquire land. Also in those small sessions, I'll go to the B, is birthing. I am a traditional indigenous midwife. That means I birth children at home because we live in the city of Cleveland, where I learned 8 years ago we had a high infant mortality rate, where my people's children were dying at an alarming rate. And what I found is if we take care of ourselves, we homeschool our children, we educate our mothers, then that rate goes down. It is not a city rate, it's not a state rate, it is a rate for our community. It is a call to action for me. So, which brings me to my other C, which is cultivation. I'm here to cultivate the land. I'm here to cultivate minds. I'm here to cultivate my children. I'm here to cultivate myself. So, with my vision, I would like to teach everyone who wants to know about raising chickens, how to live a sustainable life, how to birth your own babies at home, how to take your children out of the school system. That is what I do. Long term, what I would like my vision to be is a 100-acre farm that is within my family, where I can help other women come to my farm and birth children, learn how to raise their food, and learn how to be a community with each other. So if you would like to connect with me, you can offer time equity, but I do offer a 5 with 5 for 5. So that means you get 5 minutes of my time for only $5. You can ask me anything. We can talk about anything. Anything after 10 minutes is $2 a minute. You had to put in the, the fine print. But I like to have the conversations, and that they don't always happen in large rooms. A lot of times they happen one-on-one. So if you would like a 5 with 5, please come see my poster, take my information, and we can talk. Thank you.
Thank you, 5. So next we have Chandrea Simmons, but she could not be here tonight. Something came up last minute today, but I'd like you to encourage you to check out her poster. We've also got a one-pager. Just a quick snapshot. She operates Vegan House in the Gordon Square, Detroit Shoreway neighborhood, if some of you know that. She was featured, I think, on KYC recently. And what she is working on is a project kind of modeled on the Black Panther School Breakfast Program. And so her project is called the Fight for School Breakfast. So if you want to connect with her, she would love to connect with you. And be sure to get her contact information, sign up, and then take her one page of her project. So let's applaud for her. I know she was really disappointed she couldn't be here tonight. Next up, Ronetta Stallworth. Come on down.
Okay, you guys. I'm sorry. I didn't memorize my speech, so I will be reading it. Imagine your child begging you, "Mommy, mommy, I want a cheeseburger," and continuing to ask you throughout the day. Eventually, you will give in and buy that child what they want. I'm not sure what this process is called, but this process is what I'm using to get families to buy into healthy eating. Usually, when I try to have this conversation with people about healthy eating, they don't really want to hear it. Like the people that's in my neighborhood, that's not a priority for them. So where I come from, vegetables and healthy eating is barely thought of or not at all. Not because we don't want to be healthier, but because we may lack the knowledge and the know-how to successfully change our eating habits. My project is dedicated to kids so that they can learn how to eat healthier, and the importance of healthy foods and to successfully manage their mental health. I want kids to be able to think about eating healthy without thinking about, the pressures of life and the things that they're going through. So in that capacity, I want to help people with the kids with their mental health, ultimately helping families with their children to be able to eat healthier as well, and the children to come to them and teach them, like, this is what I want and I want you to get it for me, because usually that's how kids are. You won't listen to me, but you will listen to your children though. So my project will be dedicated to kids so that they can learn how to eat healthier and know the importance of eating healthy and successfully manage their mental health. This project will support them by providing hands-on meals. This will also provide children with creative ways to support their mental health, such as poetry, singing, art, and meditation. We will provide children with materials needed, also some to take home so they can recreate these dishes. And at the end of the 8 free classes, the project will give each children a ticket to Fun and Stuff of completion of the project. And if anyone wants to support my project, please contact me by email, make a donation to my PayPal, Also, I didn't put this up here, but it's pretty, I think you guys can remember it. You could cash at me. If you love me, cash me. That's the Cash App. And you can also support my project by donating such things as fresh produce or cooking utensils. And that's the end. Oh, wait a minute. And my name's Ronetta. I'm sorry I didn't say that. My name's Ronetta. And the name of my project is called Internal Works because I want to be able to work from the inside out.
All right. Up next, Selena Awesome Vicario.
Who here likes mulberries? Yay. Can you imagine a free mulberry pie delivered to your doorstep? Imagine that free pie delivered with a recipe card and nutrition information, along with information about the indigenous uses of invasive and native mulberries. Just dropped off at your door by your neighbor for free. My name is Selena Awesome Vicario. My pronouns are she or they, and it is my dream to save the world through friendship and fun. I grew up on the near west side of Cleveland, going on nature and plant ID walks with my community elders, having a deep appreciation for the companionship between humanity and nature, and an insatiable sense of wonder. Today, I don't see these activities or this sense of wonder regarding learning about food or nutrition sciences, or I don't see children eating dandelions or wild carrot. And most nutrition science information is either inaccessible or replaced by pseudoscientific marketing. So I started to do what I could to help, to change that. I started to share what I know about plant sciences and nutrition sciences by preparing foraged vegan foods and sharing them, hosting edible foraging walks and food scrap gardening activities, container gardening activities for free, just to bring people together, to provide accessible and compassionate way for our community to thrive. Whenever our neighbors ask, "What's this in my yard?" or "What's this growing in the sidewalk?" the Peter Rabbit Project is there to repair that bridge of understanding between humanity and nature, celebrating that amazing interconnectedness that we share. We are a community mutual aid network bringing together a creative approach to community engagement and sustainability through ethnobotanical, that's indigenous knowledge supporting, indigenous wisdom supporting initiatives that facilitate community self-sufficiency and interconnectedness with our ecosystem. Our neighbors donate their unused flora, and we facilitate the harvest or eradication in the case of invasive species, delivery, recipe, and nutrition information to the community. And utilizing these indigenous methods of cultivation and harvest to revitalize the land and maintain a mutually beneficial relationship between the community, flora, fauna, water, and soil. We avoid harsh chemicals and destructive farming techniques that way. We have a map of mulberry tree locations throughout our neighborhood, and neighbors volunteering to harvest, bake, and deliver pies and preserves to other neighbors next month. Black and white mulberry trees are incredibly invasive. Red mulberry trees are native, but we seldom see them because we see this, black and white mulberry trees. And they produce still a highly nutritious and delicious fruit. So sharing resources, knowledge, and time together as a community will ensure that nothing goes to waste. The environment is preserved and no one is hungry. It has been a slow and steady movement of genuine connection. The vision is to help neighbors develop strong community through mutual aid efforts. I'm collaborating with my neighbors in the community to host a series of small neighborhood home outdoor parties, or HOPs, as we call them, providing more accessible approach to community relationships, so supporting local artists through crafty and sensory engaging activities. Some of the upcoming hops we have include DIY fairy garden, container gardening, edible forage tea making activities, upcycle gardening, tiny terrariums, plarn weaving, which is plastic yarn, and marlberry harvest. Many other activities as well. And we've collaborated with Good Earth Farm Stand, Uplift Garden Walk, Ohio City Inc., and many other community groups. I have connected with several disability advocacy groups, visual and performance artists, multimedia artists, and I would love to collaborate and connect with all of you and basically everyone throughout our community at large. We are currently seeking web and digital platform building and accessibility integration support, funding, arts and craft supplies, and other supplies donations. For example, we have a fairy garden activity this weekend. We can always use more soil. We had pots donated. We could use little trinkets and beads and stones and little figurines to decorate those. And we can always use seeds, supplies, storage space, and locations to host free community events, printing supplies, and of course, gardening gloves and tools. Someday, I hope for every neighborhood to have their own Peter Rabbit project. Thank you.
Are you ready, Miss Carol White? Yes!
Can you tell she's my advisor? Well, good evening. My name is Chef Carol White, and I'm one of the fellows out of the 10, and I am so grateful to be here in your presence. For those of you who have not had an opportunity to meet and greet me, I am someone who grew up right here in Maple Heights, Ohio. My father was an engineer. My mom worked for the government, military included, and I was mostly homeschooled. Well, I left here at the age of 14, and I lived in Israel for 18 years. I started very young with my culinary journey. I worked under many masterful chefs, and in exchange for working in Israel's largest tofu and ice cream factory. Well, on this journey, I met a guy. He was right out of Shaker Heights, a graduate of Kent State fashion design program, who was teaching beauty inside out through wellness and sustainability. That's Mark White. Well, here we are, 21 years later, but that's another story. So let's fast forward to my return to the US. I was 32 years old, arriving here for the first time as an adult, and my family size was of about 6. With much global exposure and great skill, I was still challenged with learning how to feed my family and send my children to school with packed meals. We were 100% plant-based, and you can call it vegan, plant-based, all those terms, but we were like whole food. Like if you didn't make it, we didn't have it. So I made tomatoes. We harvested tomatoes, made tomato sauce. So that's how I was used to preparing and cooking. And now I'm here trying to figure out like, okay, now I'm sending breakfast, lunch, and dinner and snack because 80% of what they were providing at school wasn't sufficient. Yet, this was my hometown. This is America, right? This is supposed to be the great way. But we were forced to depend on, at that time, government assistance. Now, let's do some numbers. $589 was a monthly allotment for a family of 6. We had $19 a day. That's about $3.20. Because remember, they're feeding you breakfast and lunch free at school. So that was your dinner, $3.20 a person. It didn't work. And remember, I'm doing 3 meals. I had little children. We didn't do formula. We didn't do any of that stuff. So it was a challenge, if you can imagine. And then I started thinking, wow, how many people like me are actually struggling trying to figure this out? Many were forced to just go with some of the overly processed foods that are being served, or just kind of go with what's considered the norm. It was my year in Savannah, Georgia that really planted some seeds. I worked at America's Second Harvest Culinary Kitchen, and we worked side by side a food bank. And there was a team of us that were privileged to feed the children within schools 3 meals a day, because they also realized that if your children stayed in aftercare, they were at school till a lot of times 6 or later, right? So those children had to get breakfast, lunch, and dinner, hot meals, because they found that many children were going home, their parents are getting off work, and they were tired, and they may not have even got a bowl of cereal that night. So the program provided those 3 hot meals. This planted a seed, and it made me think, like, wow, how essential it was for children to get nutrition. Now, the rest of us need to eat too, but, you know, we are looking at the children, right? So I had never really seen what food insecurity looked like. I had never really known what a food desert was. I had not even faced making financial decisions that could have a negative impact on my health. Now, we know that healthy eating habits have been linked to better mental health, which is essential for learning and academic success, while refined sugars and diets high in processed foods have a negative impact on our cognitive function. Now, why wouldn't we serve the best to our babies, our seniors, our children, our loved ones? So Shine Bright is a food justice initiative that represents an enterprise and eventually a nonprofit. Shine Bright's name represents a sense of positivity, hope, and empowerment, highlighting the organization's commitment to addressing the systemic inequalities and injustices that exist in the food system overall. We are building a team of advocates that represent multiple perspectives. This advocacy team dedicated to creating a more equitable and sustainable food system, and one that's promoting positive change in community through education and action. Shine Bright is developing a curriculum and a list of services that organizations and facilities can use to improve the quality of ready-to-eat meals that are served. Now, this would include your senior facilities, your daycares. Within regulation, they still need help. So they would be able to decide either they want to use our service or they need to train their staff and have a curriculum that shows them how maybe they can make breaded chicken nuggets or do different things so that they're not using overly processed foods. Maybe they got to go back to the old school, like cooking in the kitchen, making the food. Might work a little better that way, right? And we'll also bring in our local farmers and merge a lot of organizations that are already doing this work. By fall of 2024, we plan to have 20 facilities using our curriculum or services. We'll be collecting data and developing a system that is scalable. Because I believe a plan should be sustainable, I've started out with a product, which is my granola over here. You can buy a purple bag for $5. It's 8 ounces of granola. You can also donate any amount and you would get a gold bag. So we have a website. You can purchase the product, and this is so that we can pay out and give stipends to advocates and volunteers who help and assist. This would also keep our business structure going. So we want to come up with a model that is fully self-sustaining, but right now we're going to need a little help, whether it's grant funding or donations. We're looking to raise $35,000 to $50,000. Again, our model will be self-sustaining, and whether you're donating to Nourishing Powers Fund or to each of the fellows directly or both, please give your feedback, your impact. We want you to be a part of what we're doing. This isn't just another idea, just another initiative. These seeds were planted. This is like a passion fueled by my family's personal experience, but I've also seen so many others who need the same help. They don't always know where to start, and they don't always have the resources. So it's you that can help us all make that impact or change. So Shine Bright is here to serve delicious and nutritious food for a better world, one meal at a time.
Thank you, Carol. It is the Danny White. Please come on up. Take your time. Take your time.
Thank you. Good evening, y'all. Hey, Shirley. My name is Danny White. Have you ever considered what equity in food access looks like for your neighbors with disabilities? You see, I have always lived within reasonable walking distance to a grocery store. The ability to do so was on the list of requirements for a community where my mother could live and thrive in her independence. My mother, Mrs. White, has been in a wheelchair all of my life. Because of that, I have always viewed the world through a lens of accessibility. When I was able to have a home of my own, I requested that my home be wheelchair accessible. In 2015, the community surrounding Arbor Park Village followed my parents' checklist. Things like being on a bus line and in a walking distance to the grocery store topped this list. In 2019, my walk to the store went from 5 minutes to 30 minutes. The difference of 1.4 miles changed Central's food access for everyone. From this, I thought, this community is no longer a place my mother can live and exercise her independence. Does this mean that all Central residents with disabilities would also have difficulty accessing what they need? Fast forwarding to 2022, we find that the Central community is still without a grocery store. While working at the East 39th Community Garden last year, I had the opportunity to work with students from East Tech that had varying levels of abilities and disabilities. In observation of them, I learned that they may not have the resources to leave high school and support them in living a reasonably self-sufficient life. For just a moment, close your eyes. I'm checking all eyes too, all of them. I see them all. All right. Imagine how your life would change if your community's grocery store closed. What can you and your neighbors access? What has become inaccessible? What would you do to be the change? Opening your eyes. Oh, thank God. My vision for food justice helps Central residents who have been excluded from economic and educational opportunities due to their abilities or history, who need better access to sustainable work and quality food by creating a vocational community farm and focusing on employing, educating, and feeding the surrounding communities. Neighbors Community Farm can aid in wellness in Central by supporting the creation of a health campus that utilizes and promotes the eclectic, unlimited abilities of this community, to further wholesome growth by creating therapeutic and rehabilitating opportunities that nourish, empower, and inspire the residents of Central and their future generations. A few moments ago, when you closed your eyes and imagined a change, did it look like what I proposed to you? If so, I have always wanted to have a neighbor just like you. To bring this vision into Central, I need support in land acquisition, consultation on the starting operations of a farm, guidance and advocacy for people with disabilities, and volunteers to grow this mustard seed vision into fruitful works. Won't you be my neighbor?
All right, Mr. Hood Honey.
My name tag fell off. Hey everybody, peace. So I'm Trey. So I want to say shout out to my mom, dad, and grandma for coming today. Because a lot of the skills that I use for Hood Honey, I got from them at various parts of my life. So thank y'all so much. Really couldn't do it without y'all, especially mom and dad. But so I'm Trey, founder of Hood Honey, and we heard of LeBron James, right? I'm sure we have, but you know, out of all the stuff he did, one of the things I remember was this thing he said, and it was to keep the main thing the main thing. And he was like, yeah, I heard that from Pat Riley. So I was like, oh yeah, Pat Riley said that. But then it turned out some guy named Stephen, there we go. I was getting there. Stephen Covey said it, and he had a book called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. So I don't know the other habits, but this one really stuck out to me. So Hood Honey though, our main thing is bees, which is obvious. I mean, it's Hood Honey, like we do honey, we do bees. I started off in 2021 on the corner of 129th and Benham. And that's a stop sign that everybody blows. But I put some bees there, dressed up in a bee suit, and people stopped. So that is not usually recognized as education. You don't get any money for stopping people at a stop sign, but that is education. People were stopping and saying, what are you doing? You're doing honeybees in the hood? Like you're making honey? Like that's what you're doing? This is how you make honey? So people didn't know this, but that was kind of how we started. And we started, you know, the next year to go into schools and educate at schools and educate where we were at and invite groups to our farm. And my farm is at my grandmother's house where it used to be in Mount Pleasant. But yeah, that's the thing. I'm the bee dude. I'm the honey dude. But like, really in my eyes, I believe I'm more of a mad scientist. Because like I see the disadvantages of my hood. So my hood is Mount Pleasant and it's vacant lots, it's crime, you know what I'm saying? It's ignorance, low education, you know what I'm saying? Lack of fresh food, right? But that's an advantage to me and my bees. You know, like one thing, vacant lots and the fact that people are ignorant. People don't want to cut their grass. So that means I get a lot more flowers. People don't want to use pesticides. They don't care how the grass looks. That means I have clean, fresh honey. So if you have anybody who says, man, honey, like, man, this is some of the best honey I got. I'm like, because it comes from the hood. It's the best place. So with that being said, I'm taking all those advantages and trying to create this agricultural paradise in my hood. You know, so our future is in between the houses on those vacant lots. And we want to build a farm between 116th, Kinsman and Union. And we want to build high tunnels to extend our season. We want to build up the soil. You know, a disadvantage, we have dirty soil, but we coming in and we doing soil, we want to do soil remediation, which can turn into compost, which can make a lot of money. We educate, we bring the fresh food. This is what we do now. We educate and we bring fresh food to local daycare. So I work with a lot of local daycares. You see right there in that picture where we're teaching them about bees. We're not just teaching them like, hey, this is fresh food. We're showing them like, this is where you can get your fresh food right here. And you can't really see it in that picture, but it's not just honey in there. There's dandelions in there, which is also fresh food. People don't know that. So this is our point of being here. But the big vision I want to get you guys on is the agricultural paradise in Mount Pleasant. I ran across something called a produce auction, which there are 12 in Ohio. I want to bring the 13th or 14th, depending on who you ask, to Mount Pleasant. So like Danny said, close your eyes, but you don't have to. But imagine you're a gardener and you got 20 pounds of tomatoes and you come to this produce auction and you got some of the best restaurateurs in the city bidding over your vegetables. And you can take that money and bring it back to your community. But that's in Mount Pleasant. We've all been to the West Side Market. It's a very unique experience. Imagine coming to a produce auction in Mount Pleasant. Very unique experience. Let me get this open back up. So with that being said, I want to come back to the main thing. And the main thing is bees. And the reason I chose bees is because they are like this gateway into urban ag. Because, we're talking about processed foods, right? Honey is, to my knowledge, the only fresh food that can stand up to a Snickers bar in sweetness. And it's way healthier. So that's the gateway right there. It's like, we're gonna get these kids to like honey, which they already do. And then we can go into other things because honey, man, just do whatever, put it on anything. It's the best. But with that being said, let me get back to that point because we have a twofold plan and I'm gonna go into my ask. But the first plan is to create this agricultural paradise in Mount Pleasant, taking up those vacant lots, bringing a produce auction there and putting a farm in between 116th, Kinsman and Union. That would do so much. Just come talk to me after. But the second part of the plan is to take our hood honeybees and take them on the road and hit up all these urban centers around Ohio so that we can teach other people how to make their own agricultural paradise. Because we're trying to get fresh food there, right? Well, I can't do it all. People gonna have to grow for themselves. So here's my ask though. So like when I started this company, I took out $3,000 out of my 401k or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Because I knew like, if I couldn't figure out what to do with this money now, then I'm not gonna need it when I'm 50. So this worked because I'm standing right here and I worked these last 3 years to get to this point, to bring this message to people like, hey, I have an idea to help solve a food apartheid, so this is the thing we're gonna need. So I'm gonna need about $150,000. So if anybody got that, let me know. But if you can't give it all to me right now, I need a car. My business needs a car. I've been doing my whole company on a bus. So I can't take bees on a bus. Sometimes I do and people don't know. But this is how I've been building my company so far. But we need to buy our lot. So right now we're currently leasing from the land bank, which is cool. But the lot used to be my grandmother's house. So it was in my family since 1970 up until 2012. So I want to bring that back to my family, but buy those other contiguous lots so that we can create this campus here and solidify our place in Mount Pleasant and grow it out so that we can solve food apartheid. But if you can't do all that, you could also come volunteer. I need volunteers at my farm from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. And we also, just throw this out here, I have 150 people waiting list for hives, for beehives, okay? So it's just me, so I need people to come help, come donate, come volunteer, so I can teach people how to have their own beehives, teach people how to make their own food, so that we don't have these problems with our food systems being stressed out. And also, follow me on Instagram, HoodHoney216. But I'm Trey, I appreciate y'all time, and I'll see y'all after.
Thank you, Trey. Oh, and there are all your produce auctions. There will be one more coming to Mount Pleasant in the next 12 to 24 months. Okay. And last but not least, Miss Jayla Pittman.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming to support the Nourishing Power Fellows today. Recently, I did a fast that consisted of no food and water for 12 hours. Throughout this journey, I would shake, my vision became blurry, and I felt weak and restless. But the biggest takeaway I had from this experience was that the only thing separating me from some of the families in East Cleveland is that I can break my fast. My name is Jayla Pittman, and I am a senior at Hathaway Brown High School. I grew up in East Cleveland and attended East Cleveland City Schools from kindergarten through 6th grade. In East Cleveland, there are a limited amount of places where families could buy fresh foods at affordable prices. Many of my friends there would only have meals during the school day and oftentimes go home with nothing for dinner. People weren't aware of the circumstances my friends were in because they did not understand it themselves, or they would never talk about it. How many other children are like them and don't talk about it? Knowing this, I was inspired to create a project that will work to solve some of the food insecurities in my community. While there are limited stores where families can get affordable produce, I knew that a community garden will give the children and families a place to grow their food and sell them to other members in the community. Growing Hands has had the opportunity to educate students of East Cleveland City Schools about the food deserts in my community and ways to solve them. We have also taught the students about the importance of eating healthy and how to grow their own foods. With the funding I received from the school, the students got the opportunity to learn affordable ways to begin their garden using recycled materials, fruit and vegetable seeds, and other materials needed to grow. With the lessons ending and the summer approaching, the students will take the plants they have started indoors and plant them in the community garden. Over the summer, they will also be allowed to care for their plants in the garden. Once the fruits and vegetables have begun to harvest, the students will have the opportunity to take some for themselves and make some extra money selling them to members of the community. For the students to continue their work of their project and have some opportunities to sell their produce, donating materials such as tools, seeds, and pots, or adding funding to the project are all ways that Growing Hands will continue to succeed. Poverty is a very complicated issue, but feeding children is not. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Linnea Webb. I'm the coordinator of the Nourishing Power Fellowship, and I work at the Swetland Center for Environmental Health at Case Western. So a core component of the fellowship is mentorship. And Morgan had mentioned this earlier. Back in February, we had this meet and greet dinner where the fellows were introduced to a group of potential mentors. And these are all people who have hands-on experience working collaboratively to realize food justice. So we did our best to match the fellows with the mentor of their choice, someone who we felt was a good match and could help them get their project going. And these mentors are helping the fellows develop their ideas and vision to spark and expand food justice for children and families in Greater Cleveland. They're also helping the fellows build a network of connections and resources that will continue to serve and support them after this fellowship ends. So as Morgan had mentioned earlier, they started meeting with them in March, and they'll continue to meet with them through the end of July. So I would like to take a moment to recognize the mentors of this year's cohort of the Nourishing Power Fellowship. So mentors, please wave or stand as I call your name. Amanda McCoy, which she had to step out early, but. Angelina Bell. Donna Stovall. Julie Johnson. Marilyn Burns. Michael Walton, Sarah Continenza, Shirley Bell, Tila Patterson, and Veronica Walton. So we're very grateful to each of you for volunteering your time to support these emerging leaders. And if anyone else here is interested in becoming a mentor for the next fellowship, which would start, I believe, in November, December, you can see the people at the back table, the registration table. We have a sign-up sheet, so you can let us know if you're interested in that in the future. So is Julie still here? Julie Johnson? Yes. Okay. So I'm going to pass the mic to you so you can share about your experience as a mentor.
Thank you. It's obviously an honor to be here tonight. These are 3 minutes of the most boring thing you'll ever hear tonight, because after we've heard all of these amazing fellows, you leave me at the tail end to try to follow up and act like that. So, and I also didn't stand up because I figured I'd be up here 3 minutes with you guys glaring at me, so I didn't need to stand up being acknowledged. But good evening, my name is Julie Johnson. I'm the CEO of Hunger Network. And I'm not here tonight about Hunger Network, but I do want you to know a minute about Hunger Network. So Hunger Network is a grassroots consortium of 79 hunger centers and hot meal sites throughout the greater Cleveland area. We turned 50 years old this year. So that's some exciting stuff. And then we also have a food rescue program. And so if you'd like to learn more about either one of those, I'd be glad to talk to you at any point. So I had a lot of thoughts about what I was going to talk about when I got up here this evening. And one of the things I wanted to share is that I've just returned from Washington, D.C., from the National Anti-Hunger Policy Conference. It was put on by Feeding America, and it was put on by FRAC. And I apologize, I should know what FRAC's acronym means, but I don't, because we call it FRAC in this line of work. So we'll have to look that all up on the internet. Thank God for Google. Anyway, I went there, and this is supposed to be the brightest and the most advanced folks presenting about what we're doing to solve the hunger crisis across the country and in the nation internationally. And some of the presentations were really, really good, but I'm going to make an ask in the beginning of this session, and I'm going to make an ask at the end of my presentation. My ask in the beginning is each one of you fellows need to fill out a speaker application for this National Anti-Hunger Policy Conference in Washington, D.C. next year, because not many of the subjects that were presented even touched or glazed upon some of the great work that you guys are doing here. But I will say the most interesting one that I went to was called, and you have to give me a minute because I have to think about how to pronounce this. I even have it spelled phonetically on my page up here. Oh, I don't even know if I can do this. Kujichagulia? Kujichagulia, is that correct? Anyone in the room who can say that? Kujichagulia. Kujichagulia. Okay, great. And that, their presentation was called Uprooting the Bondage of Slavery, Redlining, and Systemic Racism. And I immediately thought about this group here. And from my understanding from the presentation, self-determination is what Kujichagulia means. And it's explained as to define ourselves, name ourselves, create for ourselves, and speak for ourselves. And that is what all of you are doing right here in Cleveland. Now, the lady who presented, one of the ladies on the panel, who I find I'm fascinated with, is the Gullah Geechee population, and there aren't many of them left on the island of origin, but a lot of them are still along the coastline there. They are now calling it members who came over from the Ivory Coast. And she had a really catchy little name, and I can't remember what it was, but she said something that really challenged me but resonated with me. So I wanted to plant that seed this evening with you. I run around talking about how the charitable food system is broken. You hear me say that probably all the time. But one of the ladies on the panel actually had, it wasn't a correction to me, but a correction to all of us who go around saying this. She says that the food system is actually doing exactly what it was designed to do. And so she talked about the history of her people and how all of the farmlands and everything had been taken away from folks who had the lived experience of being sharecroppers, and then the land was just taken away and really left people unprepared to deal with life. They're not self-sustainable anymore. And I started really thinking about that because I run an organization that's part of the charitable food system here in Cleveland. And so how are we designing our organization to get back to the roots of where we started, that we took away, and now we need to come back in full circle? So I love to hear what everyone's doing here. But I've also been asked to talk a little bit about our mentoring experience. And it's been a short time that the best mentee, Lucretia Johnson, and I have shared. We call ourselves Johnson and Johnson. I think there might be a copy mark or a trademark or something like that on there. But at any rate, we've had a great time, including Lucretia coming to our full choice food pantry called Midtown Market on Euclid at 46th Street. And it was really interesting. So Lucretia had gone through and she was helping customers and watching me and doing all this stuff. Because we developed a plan that for our mentorship, 80% of what we did was going to be a learning experience, an experiential thing. 20% of it was going to be learning about different things, and 10% of it was going to be listening, right? Because we all know that most of what we hear just goes right in and out. But I listened to some of the things that she said, and she really gave some interesting perspectives going through Midtown Market. She's like, oh yeah, I like that. That goes along with what I do. That goes along with that. That isn't so good. So I'm learning as a mentor from my mentee, and my mentee's learning from me as a mentor, and it's a very, very rewarding experience. The other major learning experience that we had that I have to give huge shout out to Lucretia about is that we decided we were going down to do some advocacy work at the state capitol. And so we went down and we talked with 4 or 5 senators probably, and one of the members of the House of Representatives, which if none of you have ever done, I highly encourage you to do that. Lucretia was the star of the show. We were there from all organizations. You know, the food bank was there. I was there. There were some other organizations. I can't recall that I should know who were there. Friendly Inn was there. I'm trying to think of some of the other ones. And all the senators and representatives wanted to hear from was Lucretia. And in fact, everybody in the room was like, talk to Lucretia. Lucretia, say what you do. Lucretia, Lucretia, Lucretia. And she just went blah, 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 and on and on and on, just like a pro. This was her very first time. And so I just wanted to thank everybody here and congratulate everybody here. Thank you for the experience. I'll definitely be a mentor again if I'm welcome and accepted in the process. And my ask at the end, because I started with an ask of the mentees, now I'm going to ask that we need more mentors coming up for this next cohort. So please, please, please consider being a mentor. You will gain much more than you will give. And so congratulations to everybody. You've done a fabulous job.
Okay, everyone, we're getting to the end, so I definitely will not hold you long. I am Dawn Glasgow, a member of the Nourishing Power Advisory Council and the Nutrition Equity Fund Working Group. Good evening. Good evening. So I have one thing I need for you to do for me before I get into the particulars. When I say nourishing, you say power. All right? Nourishing. 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 All right. Thank you. So tonight, as a member of the Advisory Council, I want to give you a little information about what the Advisory Council is aiming for in this whole study we're aiming to co-create a space for relationship building and networking with people committed to community action for food justice. We want to build capacity for policy changes to cultivate and sustain food systems that are equitable and fair. We want to create approaches to engage and support change makers new to the food justice space, and design and implement a funding mechanism for collaborative and creative food system projects led by the community. All right? All right. Okay. So I want to talk a little bit about the Nutrition Equity Fund. We spent a period of time conducting a number of Nutrition Equity Fund modeling workshops. Have any of you had a chance to participate in any of those workshops? All right, let me clap for you. Okay, and throughout the process of fundraising, we had an opportunity to raise $150,000. All right. Now, a little bit shy from what we really wanted. We were aiming for $400,000. But you know the saying, do what you can with what you have from where you are. And that's what we're going to do. So with the $150,000 raised over a course of several weeks, the advisory council had a chance to meet and we discussed, okay, so what are we going to do with this? What are our priorities? So we had a couple of questions. How will the funds be used? And how can we bake equity in both the funding approach and the types of projects funded? So after a series of discussions and deliberations, we came to an understanding to do a couple of things. One, we're going to allocate $50,000 for a coalition building to unify policy engagement for nutrition equity. And two is a surprise coming, okay? So at this moment, I want to call the rest of the advisory council members up to the stage, please. All right. So a total of $60,000 in all is going out. And for this year, 5,000 of those extra dollars are going towards doing something wonderful, right? And at this time, what I want to do is call the names of our fellows to come up for your Nutrition Equity Innovation Prize of $500 each. All right.
You get a check. You get a check.
Yes. So, starting with this award of the Nutrition Equity Innovation Prize is being given to Trey Williams.
Come on down.
All right, Trey. Here you go, Trey. It's your $500. This prize honors the innovative leadership of Trey Williams and empowers mobilization of your vision for food justice to achieve nutrition equity in Greater Cleveland. Yeah, thank you, Tila. All right,
They don't tell us everything.
the second award goes to Selena Vincario. Again, Selena, the prize honors the innovative leadership of Selena and empowers mobilization of your vision for food justice to achieve nutrition equity in Greater Cleveland. Thank you so much. All right. This prize honors the innovative leadership of Renetta Stallworth. And empowers mobilization of your vision for food justice to achieve nutrition equity in Greater Cleveland. Thank you so much, Renetta. All right. Here we go again. Nutrition Equity Innovation Prize, awarded by the Nourishing Power Advisory Council to Lucretia Johnson. Lucretia, this prize honors the innovative leadership of you and empowers mobilization of your vision for food justice to achieve nutrition equity in Greater Cleveland. Thank you. Thank you, Ellen. Thank you. All right. This prize honors the innovative leadership of Jayla Pittman. Hey, Jayla. Oh, there she is. I should know this by heart now. But anyway, this prize honors the innovative leadership of Jayla Pittman and empowers mobilization of your vision for food justice to achieve nutrition equity in Greater Cleveland. Thank you. At some point, we will take a picture together. How about that? Okay. All right. Nutrition Equity Innovation Prize again goes to 5 Sankofa. Yes, this prize honors the innovative leadership of 5 Sankofa and empowers mobilization of your vision for food justice to achieve nutrition equity in Greater Cleveland.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank y'all. Thank y'all.
All right. Nutrition Equity Innovation Prize. Awarded by the Nourishing Power Advisory Council to Don Gaddett. This prize honors the innovative leadership of Don Gaddis and empowers mobilization of your vision for food justice to achieve nutrition equity in Greater Cleveland. It's the picture I
All right, all right, all right. Yeah. So you can put that next to his baby picture. All right, brother.
All right. 2 more to go. Okay. Nutrition Equity Innovation. Come on, Morgan, you're making me laugh. Nutrition Equity Innovation Prize, awarded by the Nourishing Power Advisory Council to Danny White. Yeah, Danny. Yes. Danny.
Want me to read it?
Let's read it together.
Okay, y'all ready?
1, 2, 3. This prize
Honors the innovative leadership of Danny White and empowers mobilization of your vision for food justice to achieve nutrition equity in Greater Cleveland.
All right. Last but certainly not least,
That's right.
Nutrition Equity Innovation Prize.
Who's it for?
Awarded by the Nourishing Power Advisory Council to Carol White. Thank you so much. You're so welcome. I gotta say it though. Nutrition Equity Innovation Prize awarded by the Advisory Council to Carol White. This prize honors the innovative leadership of Carol White and empowers mobilization of your vision for food justice to achieve nutrition equity in Greater Cleveland. So we also have an award, of course, for Chandria Simmons, who could not be with us tonight. Yeah. And there's something else. The Advisory Council has drafted an RFP based on the modeling workshops insights, and the RFP is set to launch in June 2023. There's information about the RFP as well on the back table, so be sure to stop by it to get that information. Would you all like to take a picture together?
Yeah.
All right. What about you fellas? You want to hang out with us? Take a picture? All right. Let's do this. All right.
He got it.
Yeah. Darcy, you got final marks? You're welcome. It's awesome. Oh, cool. Thanks. All right.
Okay, if you are not inspired by what you've been experiencing, I don't know if you have a heart, but I don't really mean that, but I do mean that. I mean, this is seriously one of the most inspiring evenings, and I think what Julie shared, that we could compete with anyone in the nation with the 10 visions of these fellows. If you want to experience food justice in Cleveland, we know where to invest. We know where the solutions lie, and we're really excited to see where these fellows go and how you will continue to invest and support them moving forward. So after the graduation, after the ceremony today, we do have a certificate for the graduates, and Morgan and Linnea will be providing those to the fellows at the end of the ceremony. But we wanted just to highlight again, one time, a big round of applause for all of our fellows. A round of applause for their families who are, some of them are here today. Some of them were not able to be here because they're taking care of other business so they could participate. I will say one of the treats of Zoom fellowship sessions is we got to see inside the homes of our fellows, and we got to meet and greet with their kids or their pets or their whatever, so their partners. So that was really fun, and I appreciate all of the support you've provided to the fellows to get them here today. We are also going to do a giveaway at the very end. We have a couple of featured products, but Linnea will bring that up at the end. So a few closing remarks. First of all, I want to say thank you to our fellowship facilitators.
Linnea Webb, and Morgan Taggart. Linnea and Morgan met with all of the fellows multiple times at multiple points, whether it was in formal sessions or when fellows needed a conversation on Sunday at 4 p.m. or after 9 p.m. on a Tuesday. They were there to support the fellows and meet them exactly where they were with what they needed at that time. So thank you so much to Morgan and Linnea. I want to also thank, and I think you all have already seen, our advisory council. These are the 10 members on the Nourishing Power Advisory Council. Our council breaks off into two groups. So we have one group that's working more closely with the fellowship, and you saw some of them are including serving in the role of a mentor of our fellows. And we have the other group is working, as you heard Dawn tonight, on the Nutrition Equity Fund side of the Nourishing Power Network. Our advisory council members are local leaders in the food system. They're pushing the system to do better, to become what we would like it to be the food system that we hope for. And we're extremely grateful for our Nourishing Power Advisory Councils, for their support and for their nourishing of this network as a whole. I also want to highlight, and I've heard a lot of you say like, wow, that food was so good, or these flowers are beautiful, or this space is amazing. We have amazing vendors, Alien Eyes Photography, woohoo! Just to show how Nourishing Power Network works is that we network. And we had some of our team members attend an event, and folks were sharing off their skills, and Alien Eyes said, hey, I'm interested in photography. We said, hey, we are interested in photography. He said, hey, can I help you? We said, we don't have any money. And he said, hey, why don't I come and see what you guys think? And so Alien Eyes has actually been working with us now. I think this is the third event that we've been working together. And hopefully through this kind of work, if you need a photographer, somebody said, we never can get a photographer who does candid shots. This is your guy for the candid shot. So check out Alien Eyes. Also Yum Village right here in Midtown, Urban Orchid. I want to give special thanks to our Case Western Media Visions, as well as Dunham Tavern right here. And in addition to that, you heard Michael say, why is he motivated? Because this is a community action research project. So we're responding to what we've heard through actually multiple studies where people said, we need community-driven change. That is the thing that will change the food system as it is. That will move the needle related to food insecurity, food apartheid, chronic disease, etc. And so we brainstorm, well, what would that look like? What would it mean to change the food system using a community-driven approach? And you see here today, you're seeing one part of that, or actually you're seeing multiple parts of it coming together with the fellowship, the fund, the advisory council. I want to acknowledge that we have many generous sponsors. This is primarily funded by a grant from the National Foundation for Food and Agriculture Research. It's $1 million grant that we received, and it requires a dollar-for-dollar match, either in-kind or cash match. And you can see a very nice list of amazing matching partners. But as you heard Dawn share today, we're not fully at the level that we want for some of the things, including the Nutrition Equity Fund. We think that the work that you're seeing in this room needs to have an easy on-ramp to get funding to take ideas to the next level. And what you saw today is honoring those people, our fellows, as Nutrition Equity Innovation Prizes. There are nobody else in the country is an awardee except for the 10 people that you heard tonight. And we hope that this becomes a model for other communities to honor and reward. But we know $500, which is the reward, is no way the resources needed to ignite the visions of these fellows. We do think it's a nice recognition. but we are still looking for matching partners and sponsors to bring, at least at a minimum, our Nutrition Equity Fund to $400,000. I want to highlight a couple of things you can expect from Nourishing Power Network moving forward. So we already have plans for our next cohort of fellows. We'll be bringing on another 10 people. And you heard Morgan say earlier the theme of this cohort was around food justice for children and families. And as we thought about the new cohort, we unified around a theme of seeking visionary teams. So this time we were working with individuals, and one thing we've started to learn as a network as a whole is that the teaming is where it's at, but teaming is not easy. And so we are looking to bring in teams committed to sparking and expanding access to culturally relevant and nutritious foods created by Black, Latino, Latina, Latinx, Asian, and Indigenous food growers and makers. So we really are interested in either supply side or demand side teams. You'll start to see applications go live in mid-June. And we anticipate bringing on 2 to 3 teams, and we're looking for teams that have a connection to Cleveland and East Cleveland. And the fellowship will follow the same timeline starting in November and graduating in May. If you're interested in learning about this new cohort, Linnea is your girl. You can talk to Linnea, but you can also sign up in the back to be on the listserv when we send out all of the information about the new cohort. Secondly, you heard Dawn talk about the first request for proposals that will come out of the Nutrition Equity Fund. This is a fund run and managed by the Nourishing Power Advisory Council, and the council has allotted $50,000 to invest in coalition building to unify policy engagement for nutrition equity in Greater Cleveland. We would love for this to be more than 50,000. We'd love for people to sign up now to make that a bigger amount. We know applications were open in June. If you want to learn more, please again put your name in the back so you get on the listserv when that goes out. Awards for this will be between $20,000 and $50,000, and we anticipate 1 to 3 awards will come out of this RFP. I also want to highlight our next networking opportunity for the Nourishing Power Network. So we have been holding spaces like this multiple times of the year. The next is going to be the Nourishing Power Network is joining together with the Buckeye Summer Soul Series Juneteenth celebration on June 17th from 12 to 5 p.m. On Buckeye Road in front of the Trumpet Man statue. Julian Kahn is one of our advisory council members who's been very active in this Juneteenth event, the original Juneteenth in Cleveland, Black run in a Black community. And we know that Juneteenth is sort of becoming popularized and with many Juneteenths happening. But Nourishing Power Network is going to be partnering with this original Juneteenth in our community. We'll have a booth. We'll be supporting our partners. There'll be an opportunity to connect and learn more at that event. And it's going to be a super fun event, regardless of Nourishing Power be there. So hopefully you can attend. And with that, I want to give one final acknowledgement and then one final round of applause. I want to acknowledge our 2 co-leads of the Nourishing Power Network. Back in the back, Neighborhood Connections with Tom O'Brien. And fellows, you would not have the checks that you have tonight if it weren't for Tom O'Brien and his wizardry with Neighborhood Connections and getting checks fast to community members. And also, I want to acknowledge our second co-lead, Morgan Taggart with the FAIR Project. When we're planning this study, we had another community food systems modeling project, and we asked the partners, well, who should be the collaborators on this? And unanimously, our community partners named these 2 organizations. So we said, are you sure? Is this who you want? Because we want to make sure we're going down the right path. And these 2 organizations were named. So we're honored to be able to partner with FAIR and Neighborhood Connections through the Swetland Center. And we are very excited about what is to come. So thank you to our partners. And last but certainly not least, I feel like we need the bum, ba-da-da-da-da, but I maybe we can pull that out. But I want to acknowledge our graduates of the 2022-2023 Nourishing Power Fellowship. So please stand up as we have and give your applause for our 10 fellows.